Welcome back to the Critical Moves podcast. We are now on to episode 61, and today we are going to take a look at the games, the good games, the bad games, the okay games that released in 2025. It's our last episode of the year. It's been a great year. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've just had lots of fun over the weeks and months talking to Adam. Hi, Adam. Are you well?
Everyone, yeah, I'm in. Thank you.
Are you sure?
I'm a little bit tired, but you know how it is. You need to
I do.
you need to be always ready to record an amazing podcast with you guys. So I'm here and I'm ready to ramble.
Yes, I know I'm a bit of a taskmaster. You will get up and you will record and you will be your absolute best. And we also have with us Timothy. Hello, gorgeous.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. So, as I said, today is going to be the games. We were going to say the best games of 2025, but I think it's fair to say that 2025 hasn't exactly been the best year for strategy games. I think that's a fair assessment. So the games that have released this year, I'm going to come to Adam first because I don't even feeling that Tim's my favorite, even though he is. Adam, of all the games that released in 2025 that you managed to find time out of your busy schedule to play, which one stands out for you?
So if we can mention DLC for me, this is Spellforce Conquest of Rio, Children of Norn. And again, I cannot praise this game enough. This is for me it's far better than Age of Wonders. Probably I'm in a minority here, but again, like I love this game, and I'm mentioning this not for the sake of DLC per se, but I'm mentioning this because it's amazing how the game is still being worked on, and yet it doesn't have so many players, and they released 3 DLCs. Maybe not 3 DLCs, but like expand the game with characters, with things, and give you pay DLC to buy more stuff. But again, they introduce some new features, some map generation and stuff like that. So that's why I for me this is my strategic GOTY this year.
So for the uninitiated, i.e. me,
Yeah.
what's it all about?
This game, Spellforce.
Yes, that's what we get with the program, pal. You know what I mean? That's just what we've been talking about. I know you're
Who's your
tired,
favorite now?
but sweet Jesus, your hard work sometimes.
So sorry, mate. I'm not in the best shape today. So again, Spellforce Conquest of Io is like a mixture of 4X with Heroes and RPG. It really resembles Age of Wonders 4. But basically, what they did is that there is an RTS called Spellforce 3. It is kind of popular in terms of like expansions. It has 3 expansions. There's some player base that are playing it, and there was a company that created this 4X game. I forgot the name, Fantasy something, and they licensed the assets from Spellforce RTS and used them to create a 4X game. That's mixture of heroes and RPG and so on. And I played it and I love it. It's like it's because I sometimes I feel that 4X games reach the state, then more or less they are playing like similarly, each one of them, and this one is completely different to the point that first 5 hours I hated it. I was like, this is so strange. But when I grasped and when I like began to understand how it should be played, I started to love it. Like you have this magic book that you feel. You have this 4 bosses that you need to beat, and they are being like generated randomly places. But for example, the map itself stays the same. So basically, you are building the strategy on the go, how to cope with the situation. Like I cannot praise enough how the game good is, and what's more, it wasn't so popular, and yet the creators of the game managed to publish a DLC every year, half a year, and for me it's amazing. Like, I really hope that, because sometimes I feel that when the game sells not that well, uh, but well enough to be, to be profitable, companies still considers like, oh, let's stop publishing DLC. It's not enough money for us, and in this case, like, it's a contrary of that belief. Basically, they published DLC even though it wasn't the biggest success. So, and I love playing this game. It plays really well on my Steam Deck. So this is another good point. So yeah.
So your best game of 2025 is a game that was
Yeah.
released in 2023.
DLC.
Yeah, I know it's
DLC was
DLC,
released in May this year. Probably in
okay,
May.
yeah, all right. Don't get
April.
defensive. I'm only
Man.
asking a question.
I'm like an alpha wolf in this pack, so
You're barely a delta wolf, you know.
okay, guys. If I'm a delta wolf, so basically we can agree that there's no alpha in here. There's maximum a beta. We have like the pack of betas and deltas in here.
Okay, mate. All right. So I want to ask then, because you've mentioned it, you've mentioned 4X. You've said it's like a 4X game, but it isn't really like a true 4X, is it? It's more of like I mean, you wouldn't say that Heroes of Might and Magic was a 4X game, would you?
Yeah, I wouldn't, but you see, this is the point. Like, it's really because it has turns. So, but again, Heroes also doesn't have turns. I don't know. I feel it's 4X. I wouldn't say that about Heroes, but I would say that about it. I don't know how to explain this phenomena. Maybe because Heroes of Might and Magic is RPG and basically battles, and here you have a little bit of diplomacy too, maybe a little bit of base building. So like it reaches far beyond Heroes of Might and Magic. And again, Al, would you consider Age of Wonders for F4X?
Yes.
You see, so this is like on this edge between Heroes and Age of Wonders 4. So like somewhere in the middle.
Okay, fair enough. Tactical combat, because I think combat's always important in these kind of games. And Age of Wonders does combat really well. It's kind of like the defining part of that game. How does this stand up? How does Spellforce stand up when it comes to the combat side of things? Because I think a lot of the times with 4X games, combat can kind of be a little bit of an afterthought because it's so in depth when it comes to managing your economy, your diplomacy, your empire, and all this kind of stuff, that combat can almost be an afterthought. How does this one work?
So usually I would split 4X games into two different like groups in terms of combat. One of them is civilization type of combat. So you have
it's a stats
units
comparison,
on the map, and basically they bump into each other and there's a result. and another is and little bit dice roll, what I would say. Because sometimes in civilization you should win and you lose because, I don't know, RNG was not lucky enough for you. Other type of games like Endless Legend and Age of Wonders, and this game has this type of combat that you have the stacks of units and they get into fight and they're put on the map and they basically fight on this map.
Mm-hmm.
And
so it uses like the Heroes of Might and Magic system, where you go on to like a tactical battle.
Yes.
Okay.
And you see that the point is that I would say that Age of Wonders combat is better in terms. It's like much better thought because they were like 4 installments of the game and they had time to work on it and so on. On the other hand, this Spellforce game gives you so many options to do, because units can have equipment. You as a character can have like different school of magic that you are choosing, or like proficiency, because you can be alchemist, you can be a necromancer, you can be a I don't know, it can be minor, and it changes completely the way the battles are played out, because you have different abilities that influence the battle. So that's why it's like, and there's so many. I don't know if in Age of Wonders there are so many combinations of things that affect fight, and due to this fact, this is really interesting, because for me the issue with the games that are not civilization style of fight, but like this Age of Wonders or Endless Legend types of fight, is that after a while I don't want to play again the same battle anymore, because I see 6 units on my side, 6 units on the other side. I know exactly what will happen. I know exactly where to put the unit. Like, it's simple as it is. And when it comes to Spellforce, they put so much stuff and different combinations of passive features, heroes, I don't know, bosses and stuff like that, that every fight is kind of different, and there's no point in the game. They are basically skipping fights. Like, usually after some time I usually press auto battle and that's it. In here I played all the battles. That's why, because each one of them is a little bit different.
Yeah, I mean, I found that when I was playing Heroes of Might and Magic,
Yeah.
and I'm surprised that, because that released this year, Olden Era,
Yes.
and I'm surprised that's not your top-rated game, because I know that you proper fanboy about Heroes of Might and Magic.
It
And
wasn't released.
one thing I found with the battles there,
It wasn't released this year, I presume. It was only the demo was out on Next Fest, if I'm right.
I don't know. Am I wrong?
Yes,
Because-
Al, you are wrong.
Because I have been known to be wrong from time to time.
But what I would...
Was it just the demo?
Yep, it was just a demo. But if you would count the demo, this one would be the best. You are right. In that matter, you are right.
Oh, well, bloody hell. Okay.
No, but this demo was really good. Also,
Joe, I'm wrong about something. This is unprecedented. You know, this is what a way to end the year. You know, but one of the things I was going to say about Olden Era was that I found that with a lot of the battles, I just auto resolved them, because it was either a case of, because it told you when you went into the fight, it told you. You could almost look and say, well, I can win this one or I can't win this one, and I don't think that the tactical combat side of Olden Era was sufficient for me to think, well, actually, it's stacked against me, but I can still win this by employing tactics, because it's very limited in terms of terrain, choke points, all that kind of stuff. It was, appreciate it goes onto a tactical map, but it didn't seem to have much tactics to it. And does Conquest of EO move beyond that
totally.
quite simplistic
It's
formula?
because you're a noob.
I am a noob. Yeah, and I also thought that Heroes of Might and Magic was just a game for children who playing on their phones. So,
wow. Okay. No, man, you are not going to piss me off. So what I can say, what I can say is that I agree. I kind of agree with you. If you are playing Heroes of Might and Magic, at some point like when you're playing a lot, at some point you know exactly what will happen in the fight, and you just you press auto battle. Sorry?
That's on purpose, so that you wouldn't have to fight the same fight over and over and over again, and that's a good feature. And by the way, Adam and Al, I played your games. We're gonna have an episode about that. But Al, your game was like a Heroes of Might and Magic clone kind of sort of thing, and you did not have. Adam, sorry. And you did not have an auto resolver, and that was annoying as hell, because you had to fight every single fight, even if it was an easy fight. So the auto battle is like really, really useful.
Yeah, you see, like,
which game was that?
King's Bounty.
King's Bounty. Okay.
So you see, when it comes to okay, it may be harsh in the terms that basically there is option to auto battle in Conquest of EO, but again, I didn't even like, there wasn't a single time I was like, okay, I will use auto battle, because each battle is so completely different. And I agree with you all. Like in Heroes of Might and Magic, at some point, basically you know exactly what will happen after a fight. Like there's not enough variety in that terms. Although the game itself is awesome too, but here, like, the variety of features and things that can happen is so big that even the authors of the game tried to rebalance auto battle 3 times, and they didn't manage to make it well balanced, since there's so many features taken into account. So
Okay.
basically, they put really simple auto battle that if you are like snowballing an enemy in terms of the quality of units, basically you will win, and in other cases you will lose. But it's fair enough to me. Like, even when I play this game, sometimes I lose the battle that I should win due to the special circumstances that changes during the battles. It's really robust system. But again, it's not so well.
It's more complex than
Yeah.
Heroes of Might and Magic,
Yeah,
isn't
for
it?
sure.
Yeah.
And comparing to Age of Wonders Fall, of course, Age of Wonders has this 4 installments behind that make the battles so good, but I liked it better in here, to be honest.
Adam's pick is a game from 2023 in the that's his best game of 2025. Awesome. Tim.
Well, you're gonna love this one.
Tim, what's yours?
Oh, shit, you're making me afraid of saying it now.
Oh no, say it.
So yeah, no, I personally loved the DLC for Victoria 3, which was Charter of Commerce. And Victoria 3 was already a game I enjoyed a lot, but to me was missing something. And the Charter of Commerce DLC that came out this year gave us a whole global market, world market, that allowed way more varied ways of playing and made the game feel a lot more immersive, and kind of moved the game away from conquests towards economy, which was the core of the game in the first place. So to me, that DLC really fixed a game that I was enjoying a lot already.
See, often when it comes to strategy games and DLCs, and we know that DLCs are just part and parcel now for a lot of these in-depth games. Their story packs or their species packs or whatever. This was marketed as a mechanics pack.
Yeah.
And that's because it just introduced new mechanics to the base game. Is that right?
I would say it even did as much as change the game. Like it's a different game after the DLC because they removed some parts of the game and introduced some replacements. So it effectively changed the game into a different game. And that gives me hope for some other games that don't have DLC yet to receive those kind of fixes, because I feel like that's what's necessary. And this was really necessary for this game. Before this, trade was not really a big concern, and it was very micromanaged, and it was annoying to deal with. And with the DLC, trade becomes an integral part of your economy, of the interactions you have with other countries and other economies and so on. So it's really made the game into what it was supposed to be in the first place.
So it's a fundamental change to the economic system.
Absolutely.
Of what is actually really like an economic sim anyway,
Yeah.
I guess, isn't it? Victoria 3?
Economic and
It's
political.
that period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what if you don't have a DLC? Like, what happens to the, like...
You still get the mechanism, the very important one, for free. So it's an update for everybody. And then there's like some extra nice features for if you have the DLC, like some things that you can't do without the DLC, but they're more on the minor side of things.
Would that be the charter system, or is that included in the free update?
Yeah, it's the charger system, and I don't remember which, because there's a bunch of DLCs and they each have a couple of these features. But yeah, I believe it's like to give companies special charters specifically to the individual companies.
Tim, I have a question though, because I played Victoria 3 when it was published, and then basically I wanted to get back to it, but you know how it is in life. And one thing that bothered me was a fight like this military system, like this Conquest. Basically, it was kind of the auto battler in terms of how you defeated other countries. Was it changed or not? Because I heard they wanted to change something about it, and I don't know what's the state of it right now.
And they changed it a bit. They made it a little bit even more so an auto battler, if you will. Like if you're worried about the direction, it's even less of a consideration of what to do because the battle lines merge more efficiently and so on. Because the game is not really much about military conquests. It features it, it's there, you can use it as a tool, but you're not supposed to drive your main gameplay loop from military conquests.
No, interesting, because like for me I know it's maybe it should be a auto battler in terms of like amount of features it gives you. What I wanted to say is that when I played this game, I really felt that they should give us more options, like at least split maybe the front, or like give it more direction in terms of movement. I remember it was really clunky. I don't know, like
It's a lot less clunky. It's not 100% solved, but it is a lot less clunky. The problem is that they don't want you to try to micromanage it to get ahead and win through micromanagement. You're supposed
oh.
to be focusing on different parts of the game, and this is kind of like something that you do a little bit, and for the rest of it you put on the side, and you don't have to look at it too closely because yeah, it's not unlike many other of similar games. It's just not what it's about, and I personally think that's a great decision.
Yeah, I thought about it like when before the release. I thought it was a good idea, but for me, simply it was a little bit too clunky. But again, if they fix it, maybe I will get back.
Oh, they made huge improvements since the release. It's way better in so many different ways.
Oh yeah, so definitely I should try it.
It's interesting that you said that this is a political and economic sim, but that this DLC introduced the economics, so it wasn't there originally. Is that right, or was it just not there to the extent that you would liked it to have been?
So before this, you're mainly focused on internal economics within the boundaries of your
Right.
realm, and you could do some trade, but to do trade, you had to micromanage it. And anytime the trades wanted to go up or down, you had to adjust it manually, and for every country and for every good and so on. So it was such a hellscape of trying to figure that out. It was so much easier to just be completely self-sufficient as a country. And with this change, there's like a world market where you can trade with, and your country will trade with automatically. And maybe it's less efficient than being self sufficient, but since it's so automatic, you can actually effectively trade with the world market, and you can specialize in a good, and that good will automatically get sold on the world market and get sent around the world. Or if you don't have enough of a particular good, it will get imported automatically as well. So you don't have to micromanage that anymore. So global trade becomes a lot more prevalent, easier to deal with, and you can specialize your own economy without having to micromanage your shortcomings or your surplus.
I mean, this was a period in history where economics was quite exploitative, especially when it came to colonialism and the colonies. And I know there's this whole rush for Africa sort of thing
Mhm,
that goes
mhm.
on in Victoria 3, and a lot of people actually complained that the rush for Africa was quite boring. Really, it was almost just more of the same. Uh, does this new DLC allow you to? Not that I want to, condone these kind of practices because I'm a very liberal gentleman. Okay, but
Sure.
but rule Britannia and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, does it? Does this allow you to use some quite exploitative practices when it comes to your colonies, like economic warfare, for example.
It does, and the interesting part of this is that beforehand you kind of had like more or less one way to play best as possible, one effective way, and this has allowed for many more different kinds of playing where you specialize in a certain type of good, for example, coffee or rubber or something like that, and then try to get ahead with that. So the rush for Africa, the scramble for Africa, can become very interesting if you're looking to specialize in the goods that are found there, because of this extensive trade. And it also allows you to play many other kinds of nations that then interact with the world markets that before maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed so much, including African nations themselves, to be honest.
So you can play as
Yeah.
them, and you couldn't before?
You could,
All right,
you
that's
could, but because the
Right.
world market was so much more difficult to deal with, it was a lot harder to, as a African nation, to really interact with the world market. So you're more isolated, which was not as fun to play because you're so far behind the other nations. Whereas if you can trade much easier, it's easier to catch up.
Okay, so just to confirm then, your best game of 2025 is a game from 2022.
Let's get to yours, Al. Let's talk about your best game.
All right. For me, the absolute standout title released in 2025 is a game from 2004.
So it was projection all along.
Yeah, surprisingly. The Dawn of War Definitive Edition.
Nice.
The Dawn of War Definitive Edition is just the pinnacle, the absolute top of strategy games released this year. No, I mean, I know we're taking the piss, but it's quite interesting. And and I said at the start, it hasn't been the best year for strategy games, and I mean, and we'll talk about this another time, and we mentioned it in an earlier episode, Tim. We've got Total War, Warhammer 40k being released. We've got Dawn of War 4 being released. These are in 2026. We should have Star Wars Zero Company released in 2026. So, whereas 2025 hasn't been particularly great, 2026 is looking exceptional, and we'll look at the games of 2026 next year.
Yeah, there's also Falling Frontier and Heroes of Might and Magic Golden Era, which we talked about, which were both set to release this year, but are pushed back to next year. So
potentially, we've got Sanctuary Shattered Sun will be released in 2026, or at least go into early access late 2026 potentially. So there's lots of really good stuff on the horizon, but it's quite interesting that we've all chosen this year either DLCs that were released this year. So it's a grey area, but I'll allow you to have it. A game from 2004. It's 21 years old, man. So I think the fact that we've chosen these three titles speaks volumes about the quality of games that have been released. But anyway, I digress. Dawn of War Definitive Edition isn't much different to Dawn of War from 2004, but it is just a far superior game. And I thought that Dawn of War, the original, was one of the best RTS games ever made. And this took what was one of the best RTS games ever made and made it better. Can you argue with that?
yeah, I because you recommended it to me, and again we're gonna do an episode on that. I played it, and I thought it was really fun. I thought the campaign was dull. I thought the campaign was really dull, but the multiplayer was really fun. But maybe that's just me.
Maybe because, or maybe just because I'm really simple. Because I'm a huge 40k fan. As regular listeners who have listened to past episodes will know that I am a bit of a 40k fanatic. I mean, I was so excited about Total War 40k. I'm not so excited now, but we'll talk about that next week. The campaign, as much as it's not StarCraft level, in terms of the writing, in terms of everything that went on with it, but it almost exemplifies that 40k feeling.
Mhm.
It feels like
Yeah.
Warhammer when you're playing
Yeah.
it. It's quite hammy. It's quite gothic. It's quite grandiose. It takes itself too seriously, but knows it's taking itself too seriously, and therefore, paradoxically, isn't taking itself too seriously. Does that kind of make
It does.
sense? I
It
know it's
does.
late, but that's kind of like my feelings of that. It knows that it needs to really ham it up and take the piss, and it does that really, really well. So, as a fan of 40k, the campaign for me was I mean, the missions weren't the campaign missions weren't always very involved. It was off, and the gameplay mechanics in itself, which was you advance, you capture the requisition points. It was very objective based, but the story I thought was perfect for a Warhammer 40k fan. And we have to remember this was 21 years ago as well when
Yeah.
this campaign was written. They haven't changed the
Yeah.
campaign. They've made massive improvements to the graphics. They've made it now plays in 4K. It now plays widescreen. Never played that like that before. It took all of the expansion packs, and I bought all of the expansion packs back when they were released 20 years ago, and he put them all into the same
Mhm.
game. But also, and this is where I think that Relic have done an absolute solid here. Not only did they make the game 30% off if you owned the original, so they were
Oh,
like, look,
nice.
you guys have supported this game, you guys have supported this game, so we will support you. And I got, I mean, I can't remember how much I paid, but not very much, because I got I think it was like a early release, or not early release, but a release day discount or whatever, and also a existing owner discount as well. So I didn't pay a lot for it. But not only that, they took 20 years of modding support for this game, and that's what keeps. And you'll know as well as I do, Tim. That's what keeps
Mhm. Yeah.
these games alive. I mean, your favorite game is a mod,
Mhm. Mhm.
beyond all reason. Is so.
No, absolutely, and that's amazing because I can think of quite a few games who have re-released their game, but then like completely did not bring in the mod support, and did not just it was just cash grab and just like, hey, let's just squeeze some more money out of this. I can think of like something like Strongholds that came out this year or stuff like this, but that's really cool to see with Warhammer, and I did enjoy it, and for a game that came out in 2004, I kind of recognize a lot of the vibes of it from that era. I was
Mhm.
like, oh wow, yeah, I played games similar to this, but not this before, and still it was unique, and that Warhammer feel. I mean, you're absolutely right. I think Warhammer is such a fun universe to play with, and it feels familiar, and then it's enjoyable.
Yeah, it's very enjoyable, and I do think it's great, and I think that as much as it was, I think of, I mean, my words are getting away from me today, but so I can't think of the exact word, but it's kind of like it was very 40k in how how it was produced, but all of the units, they felt characterful. I think the voice acting, as much as
Mm.
the lines were the same as they were from 2004, they were very, very perfect for the setting. It's really well done. The effects, if you get a Terminator squad on the field, and they feel powerful, they feel weighty. You get a Predator tank on the field or a Land Raider, they feel like they'd be doing a lot of damage, and of course they do. But not only that, but as I said, it includes all of the DLC. So there was so much. There's so much to do. there's so much to do in the game with the Dark Crusade and the Soulstorm and the all of the DLCs and all of the different factions that are in there. It was just an absolute. It was just. I felt like it was a gift to 20-ish old me who played the game in 2004 when it first came out. It was like a gift, and I absolutely have a lot of love for Relic for what they did with this release. And it kind of made me sad that King Art Games have been given Dawn of War 4, because I would have loved to have seen Relic continue. As much as they kind of fucked up when it came to Dawn of War 3, I would love to have seen them continue with this series.
I have a question though. How is the multiplayer community at this point? Like, servers are up, there are players you can, like, there's plenty of players you can play with, or like, what's the state of it?
I don't play multiplayer games, mate. So Tim.
Yeah, no. You can play multiplayer. You can play up to eight players, and there's like different modes, and there's like tons of maps, like the skirmish maps and so on. I didn't play a huge amount, but yeah, no, I mean there's players.
There's always been players. There's been players for 20 years. This is the thing. It's mods and multiplayer that, as we well know, and as we've well discussed in the past, it's mods and multiplayer that keep games going beyond their natural life. The multiplayer is life support for these kind of games. It's the only thing that allows them to continue. If you look at Supreme Commander, which was released in 2000, was it 2007 or 2003? I forget. Forge Alliance Forever has kept that game going since its initial release. Entirely fan-made, entirely fan-produced, and it has allowed that game to extend its life beyond what would be normal for a game of that type. So the multiplayer was already there prior to the definitive edition coming out, and all this is going to have done is enhance the multiplayer experience by making it run better on modern machines, by making it look better, but also by bringing in new players as well. Tim's a new player. He I think you did play the original, didn't you? But only
like for for like a few hours or something, like ages ago, on someone else's computer.
And and now you've played it in 2025.
Yeah.
So, hey, look, at least my game that I picked was a game that was a full game that was released in 2025. Yours are just DLCs, man.
What's your favorite faction?
I'm a very vanilla person. It's the Space Marines for me, and I love the oh wait, man. I love the army painter side of things as well. So you could create your own chapter.
That was so cool.
If you have a tabletop,
that was so cool.
You could paint them however you like.
Yeah, that was a real homage to the beginnings, and I thought that was I was impressed by that.
That really appeals to the Warhammer community as well, because if you have a custom chapter, and a lot of people do, they don't want to be Ultramarines, or they don't want to be Blood Angels or Dark Angels or any of the default chapters. They have their own custom chapter, and I think if I remember rightly, you could import an image as well for your chapter symbol.
Wow, awesome!
If someone in the comments will correct me because I'm probably wrong, but I'm sure I saw that, and that was in 2004. So if it was there then it'll be there now. But I am a Space Marine player. I think that of all of the factions, they're the easiest to play, and as I said, I'm not very good when it comes to games. I just thoroughly enjoy the process, and I think they're the easiest ones to play, and they are quintessentially Warhammer. Give me the Space Marines all the time.
You see, this is example when the company understands a target audience. Like to be honest, they didn't need to implement the feature of painting armies in RTS game. Like, there wasn't a game that did it, and nobody expected them to do it, and still they did it, and it was kind of a big feature in it. This is really interesting to me.
You're right, absolutely. But I think that's the kind of thing that the Warhammer community is very salty. It's very beardy. They're very passionate Warhammer fans. And I think if you hadn't have allowed them to do that, there wouldn't have been a revolt, but they wouldn't have been as interested. You know, if they couldn't bring their own homebrewed or homemade chapter, and you could do the Eldar, Orcs, Space Marines, Imperial Guard, or Astra Militarum as they're called now. All of the different factions, you could use the army painter to create your own. So as much as it's cosmetic, really, it doesn't affect the gameplay in any way, shape, or form. But it was a really nice touch,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a really nice touch from 21 years ago. So to see us be able to do it again in 2025 was just a really nice thing, and kind of reinforced my love for Relic. And I do think it's kind of a shame that they've moved Dawn of War 4 to King Art Games, because I would love to have seen Relic take it on. Not that I'm saying that King Art Games are going to do a bad job, but Relic have the track record, they have the pedigree. They made 3. Why not let them make number 4? But I digress. Before we go, because we've talked for a long time, it seems. Before, and we've only covered 3 games. I was like, oh man, we're gonna have to have like at least three or 4 games each, because we're not going to be able to cover this stuff. Let's look at some other standout titles, because there has been some notable titles released in 2025. I will start with Civilization 7.
Yeah, what a bummer.
Yeah.
You played it, yeah?
Not much, but yeah, it's. I think there was some fundamental mistakes with the game design.
Mm-hmm. As in stealing an idea from humankind and implementing it, even though it was shit when Amplitude did it.
Yeah, that was really confusing.
Boggles my mind that somebody thought that was a fucking good idea. I know it didn't work. Let's use it. That's just. But they've changed that, haven't they? Or they've recently patched the game so that you can continue with the same leader.
Oh, okay.
Like you could before. They have released a. Because I think that the backlash was so incredible to that, because people were just like, I don't want to switch leaders at the change of the ages. I want to continue to be Gilgamesh all the way through. So they have actually introduced that now, so that you can actually have that consistency of leadership.
You see, this is the best example of how would strategic games be developed if they would be still so popular. Because when we see other genres like, I don't know, shooters and stuff like that, and there are huge companies putting huge money into the games, and this game is basically similar to the previous one, or has a lot of multiplayer features to be, to sell DLC and so on and so forth, and you can feel the game was made purely for money, and that's what I see when I look at the Civilization 7, that it was not created for a purpose of implementing some new ideas, so maybe to entertain players, but it was made purely to earn money. Like, I don't see much soul in it, to be honest. Like, you see these decisions, like, for example, this Civilization decisions, I can see why they did it, to be honest, because it forces you to choose different factions, so maybe it encourages people to buy new factions. You see, like, this is the point of view. Or like, for example, the game was published without the last period, and still it wasn't like, there's no, because they told that they would add the modern era to the game, and they haven't still added. Like, man, we are already half a year after the game was released.
For me, another disappointment, I think we covered that very recently, was Anno 117. It's not a complete disappointment, but I was hoping for something better.
Yeah, I mean, I know we did talk about that, and we won't go into great detail and rehash all ground, but you did get Diagonal Roads, so you must be happy about that.
Any other games you guys did like?
Yes. Tempest Rising. Tempest Rising almost beat Dawn of War for my pick for this year, and it is actually a new IP, a game that was released in 2025. So that was almost. So that's easily my number 2, and it missed out on the Game Awards in earlier this month. It missed out because some weird game won it instead.
Amazing
I
game.
think, but Civilizations,
Amazing game.
some weird
Amazing,
game missed out.
amazing
But
game, yeah.
Civilization 7 was up for the award, and that didn't win it either. But I mean, was that just because they felt, oh, we must include Civ 7 in the nominations, even though it was terrible? I don't know. Did somebody pay them to? Did someone pay that? Not that I'm suggesting there's any kind of this. The Game Awards surely are not like FIFA. I'm sure there's no corruption at the top. And, they don't just award peace prizes to warmongers. I'm sure that's not the case. But yeah, there was a what was the game that won the best sim strategy?
Final Fantasy Tactics Ivalnice Chronicles. It's a remastered of a 20-year-old game. Amazing game. The type of genre you don't want to talk about with me because you are because you don't want to talk about it.
Because I'm a grown.
I've never said that. I've never said that. Man, but let's get back to the Tempest Rising. Because I was really hyped for this game. I love Command & Conquer. I played like hundreds of hours. I played Tiberium Wars. And for me, to be honest, Tempest Rising is kind of disappointment.
Why?
I don't know. I really tried really hard to play it. I first of all, I cannot see anything in it when I'm playing it. Like there's this color palette and the look of a game is so like, and I don't know. I simply couldn't grasp the magic of it. But since it was nominated for the best strategy game and you really liked it, maybe the issue is in me, not in the game.
It's because you're a noob.
Okay. Yeah, probably is.
No. I see what you mean. And when we interviewed Brandon Castile about Tempest Rising, and the DNA of Command & Conquer runs through Tempest Rising. Of course it does. But I think that they tried to remove a lot of the campiness that Westwood injected into the Red Alert and the Command & Conquer series. There was no outlandish. You didn't have war bears and dolphins shooting laser beams out of their freaking heads or anything like that. So I think that they tried to ground the game in real world technologies. So like drone operators. I mean, they have drone operators. You look at the I know that we don't really like to talk about. Look at the Ukraine-Russia conflict, which has been going on for was it 4 years now? It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Drone operators are a key component of that conflict. It has drone operators. So they've tried to be realistic and yet use Command & Conquer mechanics, and I don't think that those two things can always go hand in hand.
You see,
but
you see the campiness you talked about. Maybe it gave this specific like feel to the game, this specific climate that you could feel when you played it. And when I played Tempest Rising, I don't know, I played a couple of campaign missions, I played skirmishes, and simply I like it felt really, really blunt to me in terms of like climate stuff. Like it felt like any other RTS game. That was maybe that was my issue with it.
No, and I hear that, and I think that is actually a fair point. I will agree with you on that but that was intent, and I think that's the difference here. That was intent, and I think when I played Tempest Rising, and I think I wrote about this, and I said that Tempest Rising for me is the game that if Command and Conquer was released today, it would be Tempest Rising because it has so much of that DNA. It's not quite a clone, but it's close enough that they used as much of Command and Conquer as they could, and that was intentional because they wanted to appeal to the audience that enjoyed the Command and Conquer games. So that's not a mistake on behalf of the dev team. That was what they actually wanted to do. They wanted to appeal to me as a very old school. I mean, I played Command and Conquer in '95, played Red Alert in '96. I am that old, and they wanted to appeal to me. And one of the things we said to Brandon in that interview was how it was you and I who interviewed him, wasn't it, Tim? And I think one of the things we said was, how are you planning to appeal to a new audience as well? And I think the answer was they're not. I have to go back and listen to it again, but I think the answer was they're not overly trying to appeal to a new audience because there's sufficient audience for a Command and Conquer game. And the fact that it was nominated for a Game Award, and we're going to ignore that Civ 7 was as well. The fact that it was nominated for one of the Game Awards shows that it did what it set out to do. It was appealing. It is a good game. It's not a great game. It's a good game, and they're continuing to update it. I mean, there was a play test ended in, I think it was the 15th of December. It ended, which was to allow to do multiplayer and skirmish with the Veti. Unfortunately, I was busy being a parent. I never got the chance to try out the new faction. So they're continuing to build on that game, but there's others, isn't there? I think I want to come back to you, Adam. You mentioned this this Final Fantasy game, or did you say enough about that?
To be honest, I played a little bit because this is a remaster of a game that was released on PS6, so PlayStation, the first PlayStation, and I played because this is the second remake.
I thought you said PlayStation 6.
No.
It's like, have I missed something? What the fuck?
There was this, because you can call the first PS1, you can call PSX. Like this is this naming convention, and it was released back then. Then it got the first remaster on PSP, and I have it somewhere in here. Then they released it second time this year, and I played the first remaster of the game. And basically, this is like one of the best SRPGs that's out there. So this is like type of basically SRPG stands for strategy RPGs, and this is like the genre that was kind of created by Japanese companies, like to introduce JRPGs into strategy genre. If you look at the pictures of it, it doesn't look like much, but this is basically the game about the political conflict. But imagine this. The game was released 20 years ago on PS1, and the issues concerned in the plot of the game are like politics, but also racial issues, status issues, like the society separation into different groups, like how they treated peasants in medieval times, and so on and so forth. So I like this game was really ahead of this time, and when they remastered it and they did this remaster really well, basically that's why they won. I know it may sound, and if you look at the pictures of the game, and if you're a strategy fan, you think, okay, it's not for me. This is strange Japanese game, and to be honest, it is. But on the other hand, as we talked two episodes ago, probably, like strategy games are like strategy games genre is so vast. You can have cozy city builders, you can have RTS like Dawn of War, you can have grand strategy games, and at the same time you can have Japanese games that have some part of them being strategy games. So you see, like, there's so many different parts of it, and that's why it's really interesting to me that it won basically the award, because when it comes to the West world, like, it may sound it's strange that it's a strategy game, but to be honest, it's like it's one of the best games in all of times. And if you are not afraid of playing a game that looks like anime, like, man, you should go for it. But you need to understand it's completely different game. It's not an RTS. It's not a tactical game. It's not a heroes. It's not a city builder. It's another genre, but it's still strategy game.
Tim, you've got 30 seconds to tell me about Broken Arrow, then we're going to end the episode.
Yeah, I like Broken Arrow. I think it was a fun multiplayer experience that is a little bit different from most games I played before. So, pew pew, boom boom, fun.
Does it? I mean, I only say pew pew boom boom fun, but it's not been overly well received, has it? In terms of there's been a lot of complaints around cheating. There's been a lot of. I mean, I think that they've done a roadmap recently, and so they're clearly still working on it. But there's still one of the major complaints is that you can't save in the campaign still, which is just bonkers for me that they didn't implement that.
You have to
The loudest
finish.
voices. Yeah,
You have to finish your
you've
mission.
got to finish the mission.
Yeah, and you can't save in loads. Yeah, I mean, I mostly play a multiplayer, and so I don't really care about that. Sorry.
Okay.
No,
That's fine.
I thought it was fun. Not hugely fun. Not, oh, I'm gonna play this over and over again. But it was fun for like 10, 15 hours. And I had a good time playing it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Gentlemen, we'll wrap it up there because I'm conscious of the time, and I know you both want to get to bed. So thanks again for your continued support of the podcast. Thanks for turning up and recording these episodes with me. I'm saying this because it's the end of 2025, and I think it's important that I acknowledge how much I appreciate your involvement in this project. And let's continue into 2026. Next episode will be the games to look forward to in 2026. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to 2026 as a year for strategy gaming. So, Adam, thank you for joining me on this episode.
Thank you, Al. And yeah, I would like to thank you too for inviting me to the podcast.
And thank you, Timothy, as always.
Yeah, next year I think it's going to be really nice. And yeah, I mean, thanks to you, Al. I think you put in so much work for this podcast over this past year. I think editing everything and bullying us to make sure we do show up, and getting us in line and everything like that. And the website, everything. You've done so much work. Thank you so much, Al. That's been incredible.
Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you. So this has been the Critical Moves podcast. Thank you for joining us. If you've enjoyed the episode, please leave a comment just to tell us that you have, or come to our Discord and tell us that you think that we're great, or if you think that we suck. Either's fine. I don't mind. If you go to criticalmovespodcast.com, that's our main website, and you'll find all of the ways to get involved, all of our links to social media that we don't use, and a link to our Discord server as well. So come and say hello. It would be nice to meet the people who tune in each week to listen to this. And really, I guess, thank you not just to Adam and to Tim and to the others who have made this podcast possible. Jack, Sid, Joe.
I want to add something though, because we haven't mentioned that probably because you made fun of us that we choose old games, and probably if we would ask Jack about the best game, he would tell us about some DLC to Stellaris. So maybe we are simply like this, like all of us.
I make fun of you because that's my right as the lead for the project. You are my minions, right, and I get to abuse you. Yeah, so that's just the way it is.
You're right.
as I was saying, thank you very much to our audience. You're the reason why we continue to do this. It is appreciated. Come and say hi, and I wish you all the best for 2026. Thanks so much for listening. Take it easy. Goodbye.